Hey everyone, it's me, Brian Altano, and I love video games, just like my friend Max Scoville does. And 27 years ago, this week, a little thing called the Game Boy came out. This is a Game Boy Pocket, but you know the story. Game Boys were awesome. They came out 27 years ago this week in America, 27 years ago in general this year in the world. Before then, we didn't really have portable gaming. Like, we had Tiger Electronics and they were terrible, right? And we had Game & Watches, which were basically like if you squeeze them down really hard, you could see everything that would ever happen in them. But Game Boys were special, because Game Boys for the first time ever took Nintendo games and let you play them on the school bus or at school, where you could like sneak them and hide them. You could bring them to restaurants, you could go on vacations, you could go on family trips, and you wouldn't have to fight your brothers the entire time. You could just sit in the back seat and play video games. Game Boys are one of the most important things in the world to me, because when I got one when they first came out, I realized that I wanted to play video games for the rest of my life. Because it was one thing to like kind of have it as a thing you had to do in front of your TV, where you sort of were tethered down, but another thing entirely to be like, I'm on a plane playing Tetris. When the Game Boy first came out, it was so big, it was like Pokemon Go big, where you could get on a plane and look around and there were like adults playing it. And you were like, that's a guy in a business suit with a briefcase, and he's playing Tetris, and Alleyway, and Super Mario Land, and Baseball, which, if you want to go through real quick, were the 4 launch games for the system. The packaging was incredible. If you got that, you were like, this thing is going to turn my hands into robot holograms. Like, this thing is so cool. This is a giant version of it. This is a case that actually held Game Boy games in it. I love the Game Boy so much, I even have a Game Boy Flask, which you can get drunk out of. Perfect. There it is, if you really want to sneak in. And then the Game Boy Pocket, obviously. There were tons of Game Boys. Because of the Game Boy, we got the Nintendo DS, we got the 3DS, we got the Game Boy Advance, we're getting the NX. Portable gaming has been important to me forever, and I want to tell a funny story real quick. So when I first got my Game Boy, I put it in my backpack, and I was like, God, who even knows, 10, 12 back then. And my brother and I were going to school, and we started fighting with each other because we also really liked professional wrestling. That was before most of those guys died. And he kicked my backpack so hard because he was trying to do a cool like ninja wrestling move, and he destroyed the screen on my Game Boy. And I had the Game Boy.
That's tough. There was like one that got shot in the Gulf War, and it was fine.
Yeah, if you go to the Nintendo Museum, Nintendo World Store in New York City, there's a Game Boy that survived the Gulf War that's still running Tetris, and it's all like bubbled and boiled up on the sides. So he kicked my backpack so hard, I actually had Super Mario Land paused on it, and I was like 5 minutes away from the last boss, and he shattered the screen, and I got on the bus, and the Game Boy still worked enough for me to try to beat the game. I didn't win, I died. But glass was falling out of it, and you could see like that LED, like kind of weird goop inside there, whatever it is that made screens.
Liquid crystals.
Yeah. And I started crying, and I went home and I told my mom, and she was like, well, let's call the number on the back of it. And we called the Nintendo, whatever it is, I don't even know, it probably still works. And we called them up and they said, yeah, send it over and we'll send you a brand new one. And they did, because it was still under warranty, we had a card. And within a week they sent me a brand new Game Boy, and all my games still worked on it, and life was good again. Because of that, I played Game Boy everywhere. I bought a Game Gear, I bought a Game Boy Advance. I played video games my entire life, which led me to basically start working at this job, which led me to meet Max Scoville and a bunch of other cool friends, like this Zach over here with his thumb, my large thumb friend. Stop doing that. Stop that. And here we are. So thank you to the Game Boy. Happy birthday to the Game Boy. You're an awesome little system, and I hope the NX keeps your charm and wonder going for many, many years. I made a bunch of images, but we didn't look at them. It doesn't matter.
Show them now.
Well, we forgot them.
Yep. Up at noon, y'all.